They're too young to have seen white man can't jump. It's probably inappropriate for them. But when they get old enough, I tell them, get it up there, it's pretty. Hold it up there and make it look like it's going to be good. And then at the end of the day, you want to be consistent on all those things. All those things, it's not that complicated. Jump off 2 feet, land on 2 feet. Get your elbow under the ball, wrinkle your wrist, get your eyes on a small target, and then hold your follow through. And improvement will come. Okay? And then I always try to tell them, like, you'll get worse before you get better. That's the challenge. It's the hardest thing to change. You'll get worse by some. If you want to see the ball go through the basket, you're willing to commit to that. The other thing that I harp on them with is there's only 4 ways that you can miss a shot. It's either going to be left or right, or long or short. Okay? Our big thing that we tell them is long and short. We'll figure that out with our legs and how much we'll get into it. Left and right, if you become a really good shooter, you shouldn't be missing left and right. If your elbows under the ball and you've got all this, it's just everything's straight up and out. If they're doing this number or their hands doing this, that's totally controllable. If there's 4 ways you can miss it, we can narrow it to 2, and you're always long or short, you're going to become a much better shooter. And so we really harp on that with those guys when we're just doing structured shooting with those kids. Okay. And then when we do our shooting, we try to, obviously, we do a bunch of different things. We want to make sure that we provide them opportunities to just catch and shoot, spot shoot, catch and shoot, just stepping into their shot. Sometimes we'll have them moving around, catching them. Sometimes it's very structured where we don't want them. We just want to really work on their form. But we're always going to do catch and shoot stuff. Then we're going to put them on the move, whether they're filling a spot or coming off a screen, however you wanted to do that or how you run your offense. We put them through that stuff. And then eventually we get to shooting off the dribble and all of that stuff. What we try to tell our guys, even though we want them to develop all that stuff, and everybody knows, obviously, they want to put it on the floor and get as many shots as they can. The minute we have open gym, it's like a one-on-one fest for us and taking bad shots. But what we tell them, even though we want to be able to make that shot, the way we play, there's no doubt the percentage of makes when our guys are just standing there and we force help and we pitch it to them and they can catch it and shoot it is so much higher than when we're having to create a dribble to get a shot. We tell them that. So we want to develop that opportunity, but at the end of the day, we're trying to create as many catch and shoot shots because we're going to have a better chance to win. And so that's really, we don't neglect that other stuff, but we put a big emphasis on just catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot in what we do. And then, with all that being said, with younger kids, the younger they are, I think the more they need to, I think the challenge is keeping them interested and not bored. And so eventually, to not keep them so they're not bored, we start adding stuff to what they're doing, all that stuff. And the truth be told, if a kid can't step in and make a step in, how's he going here, crossover, and how's he making that shot? Now, I know you have to let them do some of that stuff, and we do it too. I mean, we let our kids do that stuff, but we really try to emphasize the other stuff and make them practice that stuff. So I would just kind of, if you're shooting step back jumpers in middle school, or if we're doing it on the freshman level, or even the JV, well, if they're good enough to do that, we're playing them up. The bulk of them aren't good enough to do that. So I would just emphasize that or whatever. All right, we're going to quickly try to show you some things. I'm going to try to go through as many things as I can, and we'll try to let them shoot long enough just so you can get a feel for what we do. We don't do anything groundbreaking with our shooting. Okay, but like we try to put them in as many situations to shoot as we can, and we try to mix it up so they stay entertained and engaged in what we're doing. And just depending on what we're trying to accomplish that day is what we do. The first thing we'll do sometimes, we don't do, it's kind of like Coach Stevens said, I do think this is something kids should do all the time, especially if they kind of get into a funk where they're not making shots. But more early in the year, this is something that we do. We'll come in and we'll form shoot, and you can have 2 guys to a goal, 3 people to a goal. Obviously, numbers is a huge factor for you guys, and I understand it's a challenge. I would do this maybe even with 4 guys, but it's ideal with 2 or 3. But we'll just form shoot, and this is where we get into what we talked about, so I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing. We're going to put the ball in your dominant hand, do everything you would, get comfortable the way you would shoot it, then we're going to rotate it up, and this is where we tell them, don't be in a hurry. The minute we start letting them go, kids will start doing this. And it's 100 miles an hour, they have no idea this. It's not how we want to shoot. We want to get lined up, get it here. For us, we tell our guys the ball needs to be up here above their shooting eye. So if I'm right-handed, I want it right above my right eye. For younger kids, it's harder. A lot of them are going to be down here. The other thing that I would tell you that I meant to say before I get them going, where I can get a high school kid, my freshman kids typically shoot it from down here. My older kids get it up here, and it's more proper. And some of them forever shoot it down here, okay? It's okay for them to shoot down here. If I was going to correct anything with younger kids, just make them keep the ball on the same side of their body the whole time. So if I'm right-handed, I've got a kid right now, a freshman kid, he shoots it, he brings it here, and he shoots it here, and we're working on it. But it's so hard for him because he's done this his whole life. But even if they're shooting the ball from here, if their elbow is still under the ball, it's not perfect, but they're going to have a chance. And that's the biggest thing. So when we do this, we'll have them rotate, start it here, rotate it here, hold it for a second, check your elbow under the ball. Then we're going to come up, finish up on our toes, hold our follow through until the ball goes in. And when we tell our guys when they're doing this, your goal is to not hit the rim. We want to make it as clean as we can. And we do this for a while. If you got multiple people at the basket, then they just work together to not be shooting at the same time. So just gonna let you guys go for a few minutes here, okay? And then we'll go on. Let's go. So while they're doing that, like when I tell my guys, the first thing, especially with our young kids, right away they're missing shots on this. And they're not, how can I miss one? Don't get caught up in making misses. I'd rather, you know, could you tell me with your elbow into the ball, did you hold your follow through the time? And going back to what I said earlier, right now is the perfect opportunity. Get your eyes on that spot on the rim that you want to focus on. We tell them aim small. Pick a spot, aim small, and try to get the ball to be in the same place every time. All right, I'm going to stop them right there. We'll move on. That's just something that we do. You come in, and a lot of times they ask them to do that kind of stuff on their own. The next thing that we do, we'll go partner shooting. This is obviously very simple. I'm sure that you guys do this. We put 2 people at a basket, 4 people at a basket, never more than 4. This becomes a numbers game for you guys, so you have to decide, does this fit what you're doing? So when we have our varsity guys by themselves, this works out great for us. We maybe have 2 guys to go, maybe 1 goal that has 4. But there's times when we have our JV guys in there with us together, and we'll have 4 guys in every basket, and we make it work. But typically what we do on this, we're going to shoot for a minute. So he's going to shoot for a minute, he's going to rebound for a minute. We tell our rebounder, you better be killing yourself to not let the ball bounce more than once. You got to work for the shooter because we're trying to get as many shots as we can in 1 minute. If you're the shooter, this is where kids, it just comes down to you got to make them do it the way you want. Most of them will just stand in one spot or they won't move. We tell them they've got to keep their feet moving the whole time that they're going, and we want them, when the passer's ready to throw it to them, we want them stepping into their shot. So we'll start out, we may go 15-footers to start, then we may go back to 3s, then we may go shot fake, and all that stuff. We go through a progression. But just in general, what I'm going to ask you guys to do, if you're the shooter, we're going to just start out, we'll shoot 15-footers. So you start out around the 3-point line. When he's ready, you're going to step in, 1, 2, we're going to shoot it. Hold your follow through till it gets to the rim. Your feet are moving. As soon as it gets there, we're backing up, and then you can change spots. I'm backing up, my feet are moving, and then when he's ready to pass it, I'm stepping in. I've got to change spots every time. My feet got to move, and I've always got to be moving into my pass when I go to catch it, okay? We're going to go here for about 30 seconds. Okay, ready? Go. You're the rebounder. You got to work. You got to work. And we ask our passers right here. We try to really emphasize with our guys. It is a huge percentage difference, certainly in high school for sure, but even at the middle school level, between a guy that catches the pass right here versus here or here and get a big shot off. I mean, nobody practices shooting where they're catching balls down here, so we tell our guys in the game, we're going to focus on passing, but right here, you've got to give a good pass. Stop lobbing it out there right there because you're lazy and you don't want to concentrate on what you're doing. So we try to decide that with our guys. Shooter! And they're switching and they're going and we're going. Both guys that shoot, then we always make them change baskets. We always make them change baskets. Nobody walks where they're going. So they got to hustle. We rotate clockwise. Everybody goes when we get there. Just quickly, a couple ways we can do this. Even with our older kids, or if we get in a funk where we just haven't been shooting the ball well, we won't make them change. We'll lock them in a spot. I'll tell them everybody's getting on the left wing at your basket. Left wing, and you're just going to stand there and we're just stepping in, catching, and we're shooting. And we just get back and we just try to groove. We just try to groove their shot and build some confidence back before we move them around. And then we'll do it that way. The next progression we would do, and we'll do this right here with these guys. Coach, we'll go one more time, partner shooting. The other guy. We'd go shot fake goalie. I'm going to do this so y'all can see it. One of the biggest things that our kids do, we'll go into shot fake, especially our young guys. We'll go shot fake, they'll step in, and we'll tell them, you have to alternate every time. So if we shot fake right this time, we're going to shot fake go left, we make them change so they're not just doing the same thing over and over. But the biggest thing that our kids do, they'll step in, they'll shot fake, and then they're stepping, and their balance is right at where their foot is. Okay, and we tell them, like, you're not getting that shot off. Most kids aren't good enough to put it way out in front of them and get separation and get the shot off. I mean, I've got a kid who's a phenomenal shooter who's graduating for us right now. And he'd show it long and get out in front, and he'd always get caught from behind. And then finally this year as a senior, he was able to get that shot off because he got stronger and could get up off the ground. But they still need to be practicing it the right way. If they don't put the ball out in front, they've got no chance. So we tell them, we're going to get back. Anytime we shot fake, we start behind the three, we step in, we catch it outside the three, we show it, and we tell them from their forehead, we're going to rip it to their hip, we're ripping and stepping, and then we're pushing that ball out in front, guys. The ball has got to bounce out in front where you're going. And then I tell them, don't bounce it directly in front of you. There's a defender there. So you got to be a good actor. So we're going to step in, we're going to show it, I'm ripping it to my hip, I'm getting by that guy, and I'm pushing the ball out in front, and I'm 1-2 step into that shot. And then we tell them, you got to bust your tail. I'm backpedaling, I'm getting back behind the three-point line, I'm catching it again this time. I'm showing, now I'm going left, I'm going to push off that foot, I'm getting it to my hip, and I'm getting out. If we go left, we push it out with our left hand. I get tons of freshmen that are shot fake, I'm going left, and I'm dribbling it right back into the defender. You can't, and it just comes down to what you allow. You got to not let them do that kind of stuff. Okay, so Coach, just go 30 seconds. We're going to go 30 seconds. We're going to shot fake, alternate. If you go right one time, go left the next time. Get the ball out in front. Let's go. The last thing I'll say about that, guys, I know this is very basic, we spend a lot of time on it, but this is something that we do a ton. We do it all year long. We just get up a ton of shots this way. But we'll go through, like I said, we'll go 15-footers, threes, shot fake, and then we typically, we do all that as we rotate the baskets, okay? For you guys, because I know that numbers and gym space is a problem. It's a problem at our school a little bit also. Our gym is designed like this, but our side baskets are way closer to the main court than they are here in this building. So when we do this a lot of times and we let them just move where they want, I got this guy and this guy, they're right on top of each other. Sometimes I let them work it out, sometimes I want it structured so they'll stay out of the way. So we control that, it'll be the same. I know most of y'all schools are on the side, but you can control the way we do that is we tell them, at your basket, every shooter's on the left wing. So we go left wing here, the side basket would be left wing here, this would be left wing, maybe left wing. No one's ever anyone's way. If I've got to get 4 people to a basket, then I would go left wing and top, left wing and top, and then at yours that might be, just got to manipulate it. It might be left corner and left wing. You can make it work, just don't let them freely roam wherever they want. And then when I rotate baskets, then I might go lane line and lane line at the top, and then on the right. We can work our way through it, but you can control that without giving them so much freedom within what they're doing there, okay? All right, I'm gonna go a little quicker here on this. The next thing we would do, we go 3-man 2-ball. There's 2 different ways we would do this. On this, if we just go standard 3-man 2-ball, then we start getting into cutting in our shooting. So on this, we have a rebounder, a passer, and a shooter, and they're all going to stay in that role for a minute, okay? But in this, instead of just letting him stand there in one spot because he can't move all over the place, we're going to cut. So I'm going to ask you just, as the passer's high over like a lane line, okay? And then you'll be my shooter. We're going to cut. We're just going to fill this spot almost up into like the cover of the elbow, and we'll hit you right there in the green, okay? As soon as you catch it and shoot it, you're hustling back there, you're passing him, as soon as he passes, you're hustling back there, and we're constantly flowing. By the time that shooter's back to his starting spot, every passer and rebounder ought to be ready again. That keeps them engaged instead of just, this guy a lot of times will let this guy become the rebounder. We want the rebounder to have the rebound. He's got to hustle the ball, everybody gets to where they're going. Okay, so we go, same thing, we go 30 seconds here. All right, here we go, let's go. Gotta hustle that. Hold your follow through to it, get to the rim, and you got to hustle back to the spot. how do you play? What kind of shots do you want to get? There's nothing wrong with shooting shots that you don't necessarily get out of your offense. I mean, if you didn't ever get that shot, it has to somebody's going to get that shot. But if you ran the flex offense and you were constantly flex screen, down screen, and the guy was coming up the lane line, I'd be getting that shot in this drill. I mean, we would drill that to death. And you can create that in what you do, okay? And so we would move that all over. The other way that we'll do this drill, okay? Go out there with the ball. Give me one guy with the ball outside the three-point line. Okay? Go ahead and bring one guy out. Give me the other person with the ball in the lane. And then give me the person without the ball spotted up. Okay, when we do this, now we're going to get everybody involved. Everybody's going to shoot. You're simply here. You're going to shoot. If you got the ball, when we say go, you're going to shoot it. If you've got the ball in the lane, you're going to pass it, you're going to catch it and shoot it. After you pass it, you're going to spot up. So it's pass it, spot up, shoot it, rebound it, pass it out, and spot up. So you're rebounding your own ball, and then you're going to go spot up. When we do this drill, guys, listen to me. When we do this drill, it can look as ugly as you want to make it look, or it can look really good. I mean, sometimes our guys get there, and we don't harp on them, and they're just walking where they're going and all that stuff. But that's not how we do shots in the game. We typically tell them, once I pass it, if I'm passing here, I can go spot up wherever I want, but I've got to sprint, I've got to get 2 steps outside that 3 to where I'm coming back, so I'm moving back into my shot. And then we'll change the shots. We might shoot 3s, we might shot fake it. You can do what you want, but every shot that we shoot, they've got to get 2 steps outside the 3, so they're moving back into that pass when it comes. And then if you're the shooter, you're going to hustle your ball and get to that next spot, okay? When I say go, you're shooting it, you're passing it, spotting up, you're going to go quick. It could get disjointed a little bit, but if they do it right, he should be passing the head almost every time. You would pass to, and so on and so on. You would end up passing that same guy, you understand? Okay? All right, here we go. Ready? Go. You got to hustle, 2 steps outside the screen. Like right there, right at the beginning. He got behind the three-point line, just turns around. Get too tight, hold it back. It just comes down, most kids aren't trying to do drills wrong. They're trying to be in such a hurry to get to the next thing. So like right away, I'm watching one of them. He shot and he got his rebound. The ball was kind of long over here. The guy he was throwing to was spotted up over there. He was already trying to get out here. So he's trying to throw it to the other three-point line while he's halfway going this way. Now the ball's down here, that guy's trying to shoot it. So we got to tell him, man, just take the time to do each part right. Right here, I'm getting it, I'm stepping in, I'm going to snap it off, and then just go get where you're going. You're going to get your shot. Get there and do it right. It's the biggest thing. Make them do the drill the way you want it done. Okay. This next thing we do, this is something that we'll do to warm up sometimes. I actually just got this recently. But we'll do it to warm our kids up. They get a little bit of footwork, a little bit of running, and then they get some shooting out of it. But basically, you'll see what they're going to do here. You can do this 2 lines, 1 line. I would say, about 4 people to a basket. Obviously, it comes down to a numbers thing. The more, if you had 4, I might put them all in 1 line. If you had more than that, I'd put them in 2 lines, okay? But basically, what they're going to do, they're going to run up the lane line. They're going to run up that lane line. They're going to reverse pivot, shuttle down the free throw line, and then they're going to backpedal around the top of the key, and then come back to the line they started on, and then they're going to get it, and they're going to shoot it. And as soon as that guy's shooting it, the next guy's going. Lane line, reverse pivot. So you're working on just warming them up, loosening them up. But for them, they'll do it because they get a shot at the end, which keeps them kind of engaged in what you're doing. We know what we're doing? Yeah. Yes? All right, here we go. You can start. Come right back to elbow. Right back to elbow. Okay, get every basket going. You wouldn't want to have your whole team at the basket doing this. It would take forever. They'd get bored. They'd be standing around. We break it up. We get about 4 people to a basket to do it. The next thing that we'll do, we'll go rainbow shooting. I think everybody has seen this. We're going to get two lines on the lane lines. Gonna arc it out and come back. We go through a shooting progression. We'll shoot layups to start. Then we'll shoot them off the block. We make them shoot it off the glass. No, it's like pulling teeth to get a kid to shoot it off the glass nowadays. We force it in this drill. The layup has to be off the glass. When they shoot their shot off the block, it has to be off the glass. And then after that, we let them just shoot it. Okay, but we'll go layup, block, hash mark, elbow, lane line 3, and then they'll arc it out wide and they'll shoot a wing 3. And we typically do this. If I've got just my team, we'd go with 2 baskets. If I had 2 teams in there, we'd divide it up more. Okay? All right, here we go, guys. Let's go. When we do this, we tell our guys on the layup, they've got to finish with their right hand on the right side. They've got to finish with their left hand on the left side. Back. All right, here we go to the block. Let's go to the block. Block. Good job. Block. Hash mark. Go to the hash mark. So when we do this whole thing, we typically want to get all of our shots somewhere right around the lane line. We don't get out wide until we get to our last shot when we're shooting a 3. Okay, that's good. All right, let's go to pass shooting. Let's go. Next thing we're doing, we call 2-pass shooting. Line, we go line in the middle, and then a line on the sideline. The balls are in the sideline line. Okay? And here we're just, the guys on the sideline, they're going to pass it to the middle. They're going to cut it for their shot. We pass it back when we get a shot. Then we do this a bunch. Then we do this when we want to try to get up a bunch of shots. Okay? Then we'll just go through this progression. We'll go 15-footer. Then we'll go shot fake right, shot fake left, 3s. And then we sprint to the corner and we shoot the corner shot, then we'll change sides. And then the way we do it, I'll tell my first shooter, my first guy in line on the side, he's in charge. And I'll tell him, we're going to get 3 of each shot or 2 of each shot or whatever. And he's got to communicate to everybody when we're changing. He's got to communicate to his passer so he knows where he wants the ball back. So right away, I'll tell him we're going to shoot 3 and I'll tell him the progression. We do it enough that they know. And then we would cycle through it. Right here, what we'll do is, you'll be in charge. We're going to cycle through. You're going to shoot each shot once. So you're going to start out 15-footer. The next time you're up here, you're going to tell them. You're going to say, hey, shot fake right. Then you're going to tell them shot fake left. Then 3, then corner. You're going to sprint to the corner. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's go quick. Let's go. This will show the same thing if you've got big numbers. If it's just my marching guys, we'll do it on one side. If I got both teams in there, we'll go. You can make that sometimes depending how many I've got my marching, we'll go and mix it up. Go faster and get it out. Anytime we do shot fake, anytime we shot fake, we tell them we want the ball caught outside the 3. Go back and set it outside. And it's the same thing here. Anytime we go shot fake, we're watching them and they're coaching them. We're going to emphasize them. Get it to your forehead, stay down, get it to your forehead, and then grip the ball to your hip, and then make sure when you put the ball on the floor, the ball's out in front of where you're trying to get. we had a great shooting team this year. We can shoot it quick. We can sprint the floor. If we can get to the corner, penetrate, shoot it out, we're going to catch that and shoot it. So we work on that. All right, that's good. Let's go A&M shooting. All right, the next thing we're going to do here, we call this A&M shooting. We'll put them on the line of the corner by the 3 on both sides. And then you can do this how you can do it. I know that you don't have tons of coaches in your practice to help you. When we do it, the coach is always with me. And so we're normally the passers. And that's how we're going to do it tonight, so you can see it. But if you need to make kids the passers, you make kids the passers, and you can just, I wouldn't put lines on for one kid. I'd put them out there for a minute, and then I'd change the passers so they can get back to the drill. We do this probably more than anything else. And the reason we like it, now I will say, I don't know if I would do this in middle school. I don't know if it would be the thing I did the most, because I will say when we do this, we're blowing and going, and this is all about volume. We're just trying to get as many shots as we can in a short period of time. So we're not doing a lot of instruction. So if you're worried about teaching them or correcting them and all that stuff, that's not necessarily what we do in this drill, but we just get shots. So in this, the sequence we would go, we're going to pass it out, they're going to curl out, and we're going to shoot about a 15-footer. Our kids know we're going to go 15-footer, then I'm going to tell them 3, then we're going to shot fake. When we do this, I don't tell them left or right, I tell them middle or baseline. So if these guys, I take that back, I do tell them left or right. So if these guys are going right, they're going middle, those guys are going right, they're going to the baseline. So they're working away from each other. And then we'll go left or right or whatever. And then you can manipulate it how you want, but we're just going to go real quick. Guys, as soon as the guy shoots it, he passes to coach passes back, and he's up in his shot, you go ahead and find the passing lane to get coach the ball. And then as soon as that person's out of their way, rebounding their ball, you're back behind them. When we do this, every kid gets a ball. If you have the ability to give every kid a ball, they get it, shoot it, rebound it, back in line, and we'll go as fast as we can, okay? All right, here we go. And then shoot it, quick. They just make a straight cut out here, and it comes down into a race between who's the better athlete. It puts pressure on the ball handler trying to make a pass and all this guy. So we work hard. When we do our V cuts, we tell them, we're going to work our guy up the lane, straight up the lane, and then we're popping out. We're getting into him, popping out, giving a target hand, catching it, and we're squaring up and going from there, okay? But we'll do shooting out of this. So these guys, we tell our guys, we have this hash mark on our court. They're going to run down, they're going to run directly to the hash mark. He can pick either side. He's going to run directly to the hash mark, touch it, and then he's just 2 steps. 1, 2, straight up, and then he's popping out, catching it, and the first thing we do is just catch it, shoot. Catch it, rip it, get squared up, and shoot it, okay? It can be a 15-footer or 3 I don't care right now, okay? All I care about is that you can't just get here and pop out. You got to go straight up, and then I'm popping hard, catch it, squared up, shoot it. Passer's going to throw it to me, the passer's going to go to the other side. So we're just changing side every time we cut the ball and then get back in line, okay? Before I let them go, I'm going to try to go quick. I'm not going to put it through all of this. We progression everything we do, and then some of we use terminology. So we would go catch and shoot on this, Then we would go shot for our shot fake stuff. We'd go shot fake right, shot fake left. One of the other things that we do, like on this, other than just shot faking, if we made a hard cut and that guy was really in the passing lane and kind of gambled and I could catch and get a step on him, we don't waste time with the shot fake. We just rip it and go. So if we're gonna go baseline, anything that's across our body, we tell them rip it and go baseline. And they know that. If we rip it, we want to sweep it down here, knee. So I'll beat you out and catch it. And I'll say we're gonna rip it, go baseline, rip it, and we get one dribble, maybe two, whatever they're comfortable with. And they mix it up, and they shoot it, and then we'll tell them jab and get middle. So now I come up, I catch it, and I'm gonna jab this guy, and we're getting back to it. So we'll shot fake it some, we'll rip it baseline, we'll jab middle, we go through that progression. Okay? Right now we're just gonna catch it. Okay, just go a couple times. Like anything, with this drill, it's the same thing. Kids don't want to not do the drill right, but they're in such a hurry to get there. So get out there and hit the shot, all of a sudden they'll stop walking the guy up the lane. And for us, even though we're doing shooting, the big difference that we want here is walk the guy up the lane, get over, pop out, and get the guy a target lane. Okay, that's good. Okay, so the next thing we would do is now we stay in the same line we go baseline shooting. On this, we're coming off baseline screens. So we come off this screening action. So the first guy, on this one, we cut to the rim, and now he comes off, and he's going to come off like we're screening him on the baseline. Okay? And we go through this progression. You can use whatever you want. Trash cans, chairs, cones. We've got a ton of trash cans in our gym. I like the trash cans because it's bigger. If it's cones, sometimes they kind of cheat over the cone. It's not realistic. But we'll tell them, pop cut first. For us, a pop cut is I'm just coming straight cut off of that screen. And we would catch it and shoot it, okay? So we'll go pop cut, then we'll curl cut, where I'm coming off there. Defense is chasing me, I'm curling in here, and we're catching and shooting right here. Then we'll flare it to the corner. So I come off, and the defense is getting balls, so he goes ball side. I'm going to touch the trash can, and I'm back coming, and we tell them we've got to get their feet set, moving back into the shot. After we go through all that stuff, or maybe even before I change all those things, we go through, same thing. We would go shot fake, you can go rip, you can go jab middle, but things that we add to this, for us, some of the stuff we do offensively, our guys know, when we get baseline screen, we guard it. When we guard it, we chase on that. We don't go ball side. So for us, we know that terminology defensively, so we tell them, we're going to simulate like we're playing us, and that guy's chasing you. Instead of just catching and shooting, we want to put one dribble out and get separation. So we tell him, we're going to get a chase dribble. Chase means he's chasing me. I'm going to stretch it out and get space. So I run through the middle, I come through, and now when that ball comes to me, I'm never stopping. I catch it, pull it out in front of me, and we tell them they can jump, stop, and shoot it. They can go finish with a layup, or they can shoot a little floater. We want them to work on different things. So we'll chase, dribble, and then the other thing would be that we would just, he goes ball side, we catch it, we rip it, chase, dribble, rip, and then we can do all of that sequence off of every cut. So if I can curl, but I can still catch his rip right here and finish. I can get in here and up and under. You can be as creative as you want with everything you want to do once you catch the ball. But these are just different ways we put them through stuff, okay? Hey, so just real quick, let's just get like 3 or 4 shots. I'm going to go top cut, okay? All right, here we go. Here we go. The next 3 things we'll do, we do this. I'm not even going to show it. I'm just going to set it up so you can see it. This is something that we do with our kids to get shooting, but to compete a little bit, to try to make it a little more fun. So it's competition. We have a winner and a loser. We shoot it 5 spots. We shoot the corner, the wing, the top, the wing, and the corner. Okay, you can go inside the 3 or shoot the 3. You mix it up to what you want to do. The first thing we do, we just call this move shooting. This is the passing line. That's the shooting line. They're all on the same team. We're going to make a designated number of shots at that spot, we normally do 10. So before we can move to the next spot, we've got to make 10, okay? When we do this, it's competition. So we got half down there, half down there. They both start in the same corner. You've got to make 10 at that spot, 10 at that spot. First team to get all the way around and make 10 is the winner. We have consequences at the end, okay? We call that move shooting. When we do it, we always tell the passing line they've got to keep one spot between them and the shooting line. So when they finish there, they move there, and they got to move their line here, and they got to make it work. The other way we'll do this is we call it UBs. When we shoot UBs, the way you've got to get on the spot is you've got to make 2 or 3 in a row, depending on the skill level. If you make it too many, they may never get off the spot. But with our older kids, if we're shooting threes, they got to make 3 in a row. So they got to make 3 in a row at that spot to get to the next spot. Playing against those guys, first team around wins. Okay? And then the last way we do that, we call it big shot. We reverse it. Now, you don't want to get off that spot. You're going to try to stay on that spot as long as you can. You cannot have consecutive misses. So for our guys, we tell them if you miss 2 in a row, then you've got to change spots. But if you shoot it, make it, miss, make, you keep going until you miss 2 in a row. Or you can make it 3. The lower the skill level, the more I'd allow them to miss in a row. Hey, you can't miss 3 in a row. You can't miss 4 in a row. If they keep missing consecutive shots, eventually they miss on the last spot. Whichever team is still out there shooting is the winner. Okay? That's how we do that. And then one last thing, I know about time. Just give me, I need 4 people, partners, okay? One guy, you just stay there, you're in the corner. Give me a guy to rebound on him. Give me a shooter over here in this corner. And give me someone to rebound on him. Hurry up. This is something that our kids love to do. They do this. This is something they do on their own. We don't ever have to ask them to do it. But sometimes we'll make a tournament out of it and make it fun, okay? And it's just 2-on-2 around the world. And we shoot at these 5 spots. We get all the way around these 5 spots. And so if me and him were partners, he's going to shoot it. He's got to make a 3 from every spot. As soon as he makes that last spot, then I'm sprinting out there. Now he's rebounding from me. And I got to come back, okay? And so we're playing against the other guy. So it's 4 guys at this basket, but if we can get every basket going, and this may be tough for y'all because of the way your baskets are set up, but maybe you can get your side goals, okay? It just depends how many kids you have involved. But the kids love this. And so we tell them this is the winner's court. Like if we start over on this basket, this is the winner's basket, and then we're rotating this way. So if you won on this basket, you're coming here. If you lost, you're going there, and every basket's rotating, and the goal is to get the winning basket. And we'll play it as a tournament. And our kids, we'll kind of encourage them to talk a little trash and make it more fun and competitive. But that's how we do it. I'm not going to make them do it. I know I'm out of time. But this is a fun thing that kids like to do. Anything that can be competitive, most of them like to do it unless they're not winning, and then they don't love it so much. But those are some of the things we do. I didn't get to everything. Hopefully, we covered some things that you guys can use. And if anybody had any questions about anything or anything like that, you're welcome to ask me afterwards or email me, and I'll be happy to respond to that, okay? Thank you, guys.
All right, you see, shooting drills, we didn't shoot very much over here at South Falls. No, not really, like Chris said, I know just my own experience, we get bogged down and, we work on offense, work on running plays and stuff like that, at the expense of not shooting the ball. Like Chris said, if you can't put the ball in the basket, you have a hard time winning a game. So you be creative. And I know a lot of times, junior high, you guys are, like Chris said, a little more challenged for space. But one year here we had a flooded here. We had used our auxiliary gym, and we had the full court going this way. We had 2 goals against the wall on that side over there. We had 3 teams. We had our varsity, our JV, and sophomore all in there together. And we just had to get creative. And we figured out ways how to divide the kids up to get enough shots and all that kind of stuff. We might have varsity group might be going full court this way, and the other guys are shooting on the side goal over there. So you can do it. You got to think it out a little bit, but you got to get shots up. That's what you need to do. This next thing we're going to do here for the South Falls guys, they know these drills. We're going to give you a bunch of stuff that we do transition-wise. We want to get up and down the floor, and so we want to play fast, but not out of control. So we spend time every day. We'll do some transition drills, and we vary them up. I gave you a list there, and some of them accomplish the same thing. We just go about it a little different way. It's a little bit different. We kind of tweak it a little bit. Some of these things, I didn't invent them. going to clinics or talking to other coaches and stuff like that. Back in the day when maybe I played, and stuff that you can pick up, like everything here today. You can't use everything here, but you can pick things that fit in with what you do that you can maybe use a little bit of. And so we're going to give you a kind of a variety of things. We're going to run through it pretty quick, and we'll get it done. First, we get 3 lines in, 3 minutes. Right? When we get the kids to the junior high, the first thing we do when we start practicing, we get them all in and we go, so you guys that come over here, something that never played. The first thing we do 3-man weave. It's kind of a litmus test. If they can't do it, if they don't know where to run on 3-man weave, we know right away they never played it. So, but hey, it's kind of the weeding out process. But hey, the way we're going to do, we're just going to go a couple of on 3-man weave. The way we do it here, we make 3 passes. On the 3rd pass, the guy that catches it's got to lay it up. And we're going to lay it up. The guy that shoots it keeps on going. The guy that made the pass goes down outside. The guy that didn't pass the shooting gets it out of the net. And we're coming back the other way. We're going to shoot the ball on the other side of the floor. So we go 3-man weave. And it's just, I don't know if you ever run 3-man weave in a game when you cross it like that. But it's a good passing drill. It's a good conditioning drill. You get to shoot a little bit. So 3-man weave, we go quick. Go. 1, 2, get a shot, get it out, 1, 2, 3, and 3, go, 2, 3, get it out, 1, 2, 3, get it out. Right, and everything's depending what level you're at. You know, these guys, you know, they're all seniors. They've been through the program and stuff like that. But we're doing 3-man weave. We don't want the ball to hit the floor. You know, we want to get it up. Everybody make a good pass, stretch it out, get to the basket, make the layup, get it out, and get it back down the other way. And it's just, like I said, we don't run 3-man weave again. If we did, we kind of crazy. But it's a good one. It's a good lift. You know, we tell a kid pass it. You go behind, and some of those new guys we get, they're running into each other, or who knows where they're going, but they kind of figure it out. Give me 5 lines, go 5-man weave. No shots, down and back. Next thing we do 5-man weave is mainly, we do it for ball handling and some conditioning. Start on the baseline. 5 yards. Hey, 5-man weave, go outside the door. All right, here we go. 5-man weave. All right, on this one we get 5 lines, we got 1 ball, and we pass the ball to the closest guy. It's just like 3-man weave. Good guy. Right, he's going to throw it. And he's going to go outside the furthest guy. All right, he's going to throw to the next closest. He's going to go outside the furthest guy. Throw it outside the furthest guy. Throw it. Hit the next guy. Move. Right. Everybody touches the baseline and we're coming back. Right. Go. All right. Stay there. Hey, and then we use that as a warm-up, and then we go right into, we run a fast break drill. Right? Go 5-man weave there. All right? Then, the closest guy, make the layup. 4-man throw it in. You beat it 4-man. You run too fast. You run fast break. 2-man go 5-man weave. We go 5-man weave. We're laying it up, then we're going to run the break. Line up again. So we've taken a conditioning and a passing drill, and then we put 5 guys out there, we put it by position. And we're going to run, after we score on the other end, we run 5-man weave, the closest guy to the basket. When you get down, they shoot it. And then everybody's got to scramble into their position. You know, 2 wing guys, post man running to the block, the trail post guy, and the guard bringing the ball up the floor, and we would call it out. We number all our spots, 1, 2. 1 is our point, 2 is our wing, 3 is our other wing, 4 is our trail or our trail post guy, and 5 is our low post guy. And we would just say, okay, we're going to run 5-man weave, make a layup, get it in. We're going to run the break. We're going to get it into 1. 1's going to pitch it to 2, and 2's going to throw it into the 5-man. We get a layup. Or we might say, all right, we're going to come down. 1's going to skip it to 3, and 3's going to throw it into 5. Or I might say the 2-man's going to catch it, drive it, and he's got to pass it baseline to baseline, or whatever. You just get kind of creative. Or then you can go right into your offense. You know, we're going to come down and we're going to run an offensive set, whatever it might be. Okay, those are just some things that we do. All right, another quick thing is fast breaks and rebound out and pair up the court. Guys, been here out this kind of even numbers. All right, we do 3-man weave, and we all shoot legs. But this is one of our fast break drills, kind of a progression drill. The first guy, Antonio, he's going to throw the ball off the backboard. He's going to go up and rebound it in 2 hands, come down strong. All right, Max, our outlet guy, is going to come to the outlet area, 3-point line. We're going to throw it. Max is going to rip it. He's not going to just take off. We put one of our coaches here. He's going to rip the ball, and he's going to take the ball to the middle of the floor. Antonio's going to fill the lane wide. Max is going to dribble it down there. Hit him, he's going to shoot a layup. When he shoots, he's going to keep on going. Max gets it out in the net. We don't say you got to take it out of bounds, so we move it quick. He's going to get it out. He's going to take it to the middle. Max is going to fill the side. He's going to shoot a jump shot down in there, back shot. We call this rebound outlet. The next time they came through, the other guys would be moving the whole time while that's happening. The second time they come around, Max would become the rebounder, and Antonio would become the outlet guy. Hey, let's run through real quick. Rebound outlet. Everybody go. Rebound outlet. Get it out. We're running the break. The first shot we want to get is a layup. We're shooting that down there. The second, we're coming down here. We pitch it up. We're trying to get a short shot, a bank shot. Okay, that's the second shot we want to get. The next, we change the drill up. We call it bust out. This same guy's going to throw it off the backboard. He's going to come down, put a coach here, and he's going to guard him or make it tough for him to make the outlet pass. But this guy's guarded this time. So we changed it. We went from rebound outlet, now we're going to call it bust out. So he can't make the pass, so he's going to rip it, take off the dribble. Aaron's going to release outside, and we're going to pitch it ahead, pitch it. He's going to shoot right, he's got to hustle. Going here. We're going to outlet it. We're going to change the shot. This time the trail guy's going to come to the elbow and shoot an elbow. It's the same drill, but this time, a lot of times in the game, you can't make the outlet pass. And if you got guys that are good enough to handle the ball, we have a lot of guys that can handle it. So we come down, I can't make the outlet, I rip it, step under the defense, push it on the way. We change the shot. The third shot we want to take off the break is the elbow jump shot. We're in the free throw line area somewhere. So we'll come down on this shot and get that. The game has changed. So now, years ago, we don't shoot a layup, a bank shot, or an elbow shot. But now, because of the 3-point shot, we shoot the 3. You know, where if we have guys that shoot the 3, we'll let them shoot the 3. You know, depending on if you got a guy in there that can shoot a lot, we'll let them do that. So let's go bust that. Okay, after we did that, everybody would go, we do every rebound outlet and bust out on one side of the court, then we would switch and we would do it on the opposite side. We would do the same shots, same guys stay with the same partner, and everybody's getting to handle it, everybody's getting to shoot it, and we would do that on both sides. Okay, and then we're not going to do it today, but then we would go 5-on-0. We put all 5 guys on position, and we would rebound outlet, we would run the floor, and we would just go through fast break scenarios. With no defense. We just pitch it ahead. Somebody gets to shoot it on one end, we get it out, and go back the other way to the other end. And just kind of build and run the break. Okay, get between 3 lines, so run late. This is a great drill, and you got to kind of gear it down depending on your kids. When we do this drill, we don't want the ball to hit the floor, okay? But when we do with our freshmen, when we start out, they're new here, the ball hits the floor, they need to dribble it a little bit to get to the basket so they can get there. These guys here, they're older, we do it a lot. It's, we call it the Laker drill because back I got it from Pat Riley when he was coaching with the Lakers. And that's why we call it the Laker drill. But we'll pass, let's walk through it. We'll pass the ball to the side.